Getting ready to go live. Okay, let's see. Hi, Graciela. Let me make you a host. Or I'll make you invite to speak. I'm going to pop into my other account. Hi.
Good morning. Hello.
I'm great. I'll be right with you.
Yes, take your time.
Okay, we are live. Give me 2 seconds. Good morning, Brent. Hi, good morning, everyone. Let me find out where my VP is. My communication director can't make it. She had a family. She had to go take care of her grandma. But give me 2 seconds. Let me find out where Emily is, and we'll start this Empower Yourself Monday. And good morning, Amy. How's it going? Amy and I used to sit in spaces for hours. I haven't seen her in a while. I've seen her a couple of times earlier, but I haven't seen her in a while. So we're gonna wait for a couple more minutes. I think Terry should be coming in. We're all. Well, I was a caregiver for the longest time, and then now my friends. It's kind of like the circle of life. When you're not caregiving, your friends are caregiving.
Yes, unless you're a toddler mom and you're, caregiving 24/7,
Well,
like
that's
me.
the other circle of life because my
Yes.
toddler child is like in the 30s now. So that's
Aw.
that's the next part of your life that you have to like experience too. And then I think
Yes.
having a child is so important. Well, for me it was tough, but it was like I would never trade it in, and I'm sure you feel the same.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I wouldn't trade it in. And, being home and doing all the things, but being with him at a certain level is such a gift. So I wouldn't trade it in. But hello, Amy and Ananda and Vincent and Brent. We haven't started. We're waiting for Tanya to get ready, and we're all good and ready here. So glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. If you want to share the space, please do. And yeah, whenever um we're ready, then we'll go ahead. Thank you.
No, I'm ready. It's just Terry, our VP. Like we have this thing. It's
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of like
no, whenever
yeah.
somebody needs
we
to
we want
arrive,
we want to
that's
make
what I
sure
mean.
we get the breathing exercise. I mean, if worse come the worst, you can probably lead us into it too. I mean, this is I got your invite for a Fireside app, and and I was like, it's so funny that you shared that with me because I was an early adopter, but never really did anything about it. And I was thinking, oh, I should start doing some shows in there. But then I was like,
Oh,
who
my
do I know that's
fireside
in there?
journey. Yeah, my fireside journey was so interesting because I used to do my moon show or my moon thing privately on a Zoom with my clients and whoever wanted to join me. And I used to do it for pay, actually. You had to pay to be able to get the Zoom link. And Fireside reached out and said, "We want you to bring this moon show to Fireside." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm going to start on the new moon of June 28th." And imposter syndrome kicked in and all these insecurities kicked in. And I procrastinated Fireside until like August. I just never showed up. And it's so interesting that, we all go through the same things, regardless of who we are or what we're doing or how quote unquote successful we are. We all have those moments. So I finally launched the show on August 8th. So it's been wonderful ever since. Maybe June 28th just wasn't the time for me to do it, right? Like spirit always knows something that we don't know.
Well, it's true. I think, when you launch, it's going to be when you launch, right? Because people always were like, oh, what if I didn't get this? Or why did I didn't do this? I'm like, if you're meant to do it, you're going to do it. If you worry so much of the process of doing it, you won't do it. I know this because I have the same problem. And Graciela, I mean, like Fireside app, I was going to start doing stuff. And then at the time I was really close to Ariel. So he had issues with them. So I just didn't really do much about it. And then now I just kind of, there's so many places to choose from. So I think it's important that we try out different platform. But I still love Twitter Spaces.
I agree. I love it too.
Okay, let me find out where she is. She's not answering me. It's kind of uh, she must have something came up with her because she's usually with her mom. And hold on, let me just reload this. So, would you mind leading us into a mindfulness meditation, Graciela? Because she's not here, and we usually start. So, before we start, I want to introduce everyone to who we are, and then we're going to have Graciela lead us in a mindfulness. I hope you don't mind, Graciela. I just a little put you on the spot right there, but so that then we get our day going, and then I'll introduce you to her. But I'm Tanya Schultz. I'm the president of the Association for Women in Communications, the South Florida chapter. Our national chapter has been around since 1909. When you think about suffragette, you think of us. When you think about women empowerment, you think of us. We are one of the oldest women empowerment in the country. So, with that in mind, I myself personally have been the elected president since 2008, on and off. We've had different board member, and we've gone on to several different things. We're early adopted to social media, early adopted to Web3. We've been talking about Web3 and digital quite a bit, especially Twitter Spaces, social audio. Last year, we did panels, talked about it, try to raise awareness, and all and then now this year it seems like we're starting getting the excitement. And so right now today we're on episode 39. Our goal is to finish up at the end of the year. It will all be uploaded into Anchor. Right now it's sitting on our website, it's sitting on our YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitch, it's on Twitter. But our goal is to really like tell a story, more like an audiobook story. So that's going to be my fun thing to do for this year, is to at the end of the year is to organize all the different guests that we've had on here. And then you guys know podcaster, which is Jennifer. We had Donna, Dr. J. I mean, we have all these different women. And Graciela is one woman that I've always been thinking of, and I always want to invite her on. And just the other day, and I'm like going, I keep forgetting to invite her. What's wrong with me? So I DM her, and so she was kind enough to say, yeah, I'm available. So before we're gonna start, I welcome everyone in this space, and I'm gonna go ahead and give the mic to Graciela. She's gonna lead us into a mindfulness, and then we can start our chat.
Ooh, well, good morning, everyone. I was not expecting to be able to lead you into a meditation, but that brings me so much joy. So go ahead and put both feet on the ground. If you are sitting on a desk, if you're driving, do not close your eyes. And you also might not want to hold your breath if you're driving or if you're pregnant or you think that you're pregnant. But just follow my lead. We're going to go ahead and tap into that vagus nerve that allows us to be really nice and relaxed. And music, which is the rainforest, is from Brain FM. So shoulders back, open your chest, focus on your normal breathing, nice and slow. And with me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Fill your lungs all the way. Deep, deep, deep breath through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go through your mouth. Nice and slow, long breath out through your mouth. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again through your nose. Deep breath in all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. Nice and slow. And as you let it go, I want you to ponder infinite possibilities for the week ahead. The joy of powerful connections, the love of community, the fire of creativity, all moving within to bring you so much peace and gladness. Slowly ponder every single task and imagine as each one by one they fall into place for a successful week. With me, take one deep breath through your nose. Deep, deep, deep. Fill your lungs all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go. Nice and slow through your mouth all the way till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in again through your nose all the way to the top. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. And as you let it go, bring your awareness to your hand on your chest, and remember, I am so loved. I am grateful for every single step leading me to joy, peace, healing, and gladness. I am excited for a great week ahead and committed to do my best every single day. With me, take one last breath in all the way through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go all the way. Bring your awareness to your feet. Wiggle your toes. Slowly open your eyes. Good morning. I didn't ask you how long this was supposed to be, but there you
No,
go.
it's perfect. It's perfect. Actually, our VP Terry Michael's in the space. She's like, someone's doing it right now. They're so good. So, but she got caught in the middle of another from her company. She got stuck in a meeting. So she's here. She's in the bottom. So she'll pop up when she can. I appreciate you doing this, Graciela. Like
Of
it's so important to take a
course.
moment to breathe, even if it takes a second. I feel that it really changes your mindset,
Yeah.
and I think mindset is the key.
Absolutely. And this gave us an impromptu taste of what my mental health spaces are like. I finish my mental health space every Wednesday with a guided meditation just like that one, some breath work. Sometimes the breath work can be a little bit more intense. And my moon show on Fireside also ends with a meditation like that one every single Monday.
So I cannot wait to read your bio now because everything you're telling us is so incredible, but your bio is like incredible, but in a sense, it kind of like brought you up to where you are. I feel like people we are where we come from, but also we become what we set out to be. So I just I have chills because when I was I kind of like edited a little bit, rearranged a little bit, but I wanted so I copied everything. I took everything that you gave me and put it on our website because I felt like even if I took a small amount, it wasn't enough, and I wanted to show more of who you are.
Oh, you're so
So
kind. Now I'm
um,
really excited.
mm, well, it's the same thing. I just rearranged a little bit. So, Graciela Moore is an ICF Transcendental Hope Coach, which is a ICF. If you guys don't want to know what that is International Coaching Federation, and a content creator since 2010 on Instagram and other platforms. Her degrees in literature and film are present in how she maneuvers her content creation, from selecting key musical pieces and her skills at storytelling. She's been a publishing poet in Puerto Rico since 2004 in several literacy magazines, most recently, volume 6 of Savannah's Bilingual Literacy Magazine, 2022. She writes in English, Spanish, or bilingual. As an entertainer, she has hosted numerous in person open mic events featuring virtual artists, musicians, and spoken word. Empathy is a journal theme in her content, writing, and life. Graciela founded the Hope Enthusiast Club weekly newsletter in 2021 and features a poet weekly in the Poetry Spot and a weekly blog. She advocates a domestic violence awareness, suicide prevention awareness, mental health, and toxic abuse in the workplace. These themes are present in her content and public speaking endeavors. She believes leadership starts within and ultimately transcends to others. Her poetic influences are transcendentalist poets such as Walt Whitman, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Emily Dickinson, and others. Her pieces include a surreal element and the soul tugging enigma of feeling misunderstood and unseen. Her poetry is published continuously, and she has books and journals in her upcoming roster. Her greatest joy professionally is becoming an ICF certified coach to help survivors find hope after abuse, create fearlessly, and live a life of confidence. Named one of the top 50 social audio voices of 2022 by Global Interview. Her social media reach extends to 17,500 followers across platforms and growing. She hosts a weekly show live on the Fireside Chat app, which also broadcasts live to YouTube and Spotify. Her weekly participation in social audio on Twitter Spaces hosts over 100 listeners and conversations that center around empathic leadership development. On the Wisdom app, named Apple Store's App of the Day this year, she was selected as a top mentor for the beta group before launch on October 7, 2021. Because of her extensive background in sales and marketing since 2010, an experience of 10 plus years in the hospitality industry, holding a real estate license in Florida and a life portfolio in the entertainment music industry since childhood. She's from Puerto Rico, fully bilingual, and resides in Florida and her husband and family. For more information, link tr.ee/song.of.myself.ig. How's that? Boy, when I did
Who is
your
that? What a snob. No, I'm kidding.
welcome, Graciela, and I'm so thrilled everyone is here so that we can chat a little bit more about her journey. And I appreciate her friendship. She's been that sunlight. When you think of sunlight that pops into her space, that's her. Like anytime she pops in, and she's always happy and easygoing, and she'll do it very impromptu also. And I can tell you several stories that she'll pop into my space, or she'll just come in and talk and be part of the conversation. Good morning, Graciela. How are you?
Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so good. Thank you so much for reading all of that. I was like blushing and sweating and clapping and going through all of the motions as you were reading all of it. And you're absolutely right. You know how everything happens for a reason. So you encouraging me to guide you on a meditation completely impromptu and me just jumping in and saying, "Sure, I'm totally ready for that." That is so me. I was always, I mean, depending on what the context of the situation was, I've never been kind of a risk taker. Um, I don't know, like I've done lots of things still, but not really dangerous things. I'm not the one to volunteer to do dangerous things. But when it comes to like intellectual, like I was always the first one to raise my hand to read or to, pop on stage for something, even though I don't really like acting. It gives me a lot of anxiety. But thank you so much for the chance to do that and for introducing me. I appreciate you.
So let's just talk a little bit about yourself, living in Puerto Rico and like the younger self. Um, did you look back at, like, before your husband, before the kids? What was your life like? Did you when you were like a little girl or an early teenager? Did you know that this is what you wanted to do, or this is just it's always been a journey for you?
So, the one thing I wanted to do when I was a little girl was have conversations in English. So we can check that box. Ding, ding, ding. Here we are. um, because no one in my home spoke English. My family speaks very limited English. They've just never really been as enthusiastic about learning it as myself. And I feel, now looking back, like you asked, I absolutely know 100% that the reason why I was so obsessed with learning a new language is because I grew up in a toxic environment where, as many highly sensitive empaths can relate to, I was ostracized. I was the weird one, the odd one out. I was alone a lot, always by myself. And so I kind of, in the energy of resentment, right? I'm not going to deny any of it. In the energy of resentment, I wanted to learn a language that nobody in my home spoke. And so my journals were always in English. I had a secret alphabet that nobody could read. And I've always just been very kind of reserved. But at the same time, my father was a very famous musician. And so we grew up on stage. We grew up kind of like in the cultural public eye. I don't want to say public eye and make you all think that he was in magazines or on TV. Like his music choice was very culturally rich. So you would see us on festivals, for example, right? Like in a festival, that's where you see the culture of a place, right? So not on TV precisely, but radio stations for sure, and festivals. And so even though I was kind of the odd one out and always by myself, the entertainment aspect of performing was always there. So it's been kind of an upbringing of no matter what I am going through, I can definitely perform and do what needs to be done, which has been interesting in the mental health journey to kind of come to terms with this is the face that I'm putting in the world, but this is how I really feel. And what am I going to do about my feelings? And I feel like a lot of that kind of combination has barely, I've barely started to scratch the surface on that kind of personal work because it was a whole upbringing of doing that, right? And when you grow up doing something, it's second nature to you. You don't even think it's wrong, right? It's just a habit. Like that's just who you are. And so becoming a life coach, which we'll talk about later, really opened my eyes to like the deep work that I need to do within to then help others. So that was my upbringing. Puerto Rico is beautiful. It is as lush as you see in the pictures, very culturally rich, huge, diversity, melting pot. And it was an interesting upbringing. We played music. We were always invested in the arts, and I would go to the museum to do my homework because I'm such a nerd, or I would go to the beach to do my homework because I had a car. So it was a good upbringing despite, toxicity or borderline, abuse and neglect because I was very privileged. So I had what I needed, despite the lack of attention or, interpersonal connections in my family.
I can relate to that. And so you pretty much have this subconscious level of thinking on certain things, like certain things that I always believe that we each learn something. Like for example, Tom Furman's in the space here, and he's a health coach. He actually literally, I've seen his work, and but he does stuff subconsciously. Like you can ask him anything, he'll subconsciously answer it. And I think, Graciela, I think what you're saying to us is like you have this subconscious level of just like you're able to go into go into action, like you say, perform in a sense that when I asked you to do a meditative thing, like just to bring us into a meditation. I didn't give you the outline and send you an email on it, but that's great that you're able to just jump in and say, yeah, I can do this. And so that fearlessness seems to me almost like a subconscious level of thinking for you, because you don't think about it, you just do it.
Yes, absolutely. It's been interesting to discover those things. Before doing my life coach work, I never thought of myself as ambitious or confident. Like those words were just not in my peripherals, right? Never imagined myself as a go-getter. Never even creating content and landing, brand ambassadorships and things like that in the past decade. I never really thought of myself of like, oh yeah, I'm going to go and do this because that's what I want. And then I start doing all of this personal deep work. See, I took my ICF certification very seriously and very personally, which I noticed a few coaches don't do. And that's, I feel like, a disservice to themselves, because you're learning about all of these tools to be able to use the tools with someone else. But how do you know how these tools resonate if you don't actually use them? And so my whole certification, which was about 9 months to get certified and then to do the postgraduate test prep to get licensed, I took it very seriously. I worked with a therapist, and it was kind of like, how can I say it, a roller coaster of emotions, right? And, getting to know myself past 35. And so it was very, very in depth. And at the same time, it just allowed me to see all these things that I've always kind of known, but didn't really have in my conscious mind. Like, oh, yeah, I am a goal getter. Well, look at me, pat myself in the back for that one. Or I am really ambitious, and really focused on what I want to create or to bring my community. So it's been very rewarding in that sense, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful what you do, because and it's a commitment. That's a long time for education. I mean, to get certified, that's a long time. Like, had during that journey, did you ever feel like I'm not gonna be able to do this? This is just too much. I have too much going on.
No, not really. I was paying for it out of pocket, so there was no way I wasn't gonna not finish. And I have this it's not that I think it's a failure, but I did have in my mind the fact that I started a master's in screenwriting. And because of an accident that kind of put me out of work and put me out of everything, and took me out of Puerto Rico to Texas, I never finished my master's. So I've always had that like in the back of my mind, like, it's okay that I didn't finish, but I better finish the next thing. Right. And so, plus I was very committed. See, when I got into my certification, I was furloughed from corporate because of the pandemic. So it was kind of those moments of like, it's either this or I'm just going to go back to the workforce. And at this point in my life, there's just no way, right? Like, I would rather really just put my blood, sweat, and tears into this than to go back to corporate and experience what I experienced, which is also what a lot of highly sensitive empaths experience in a corporate environment: a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of energy flows that kind of block you, all of that. So I was going through all of those motions while having a toddler who is also highly sensitive. So it was like very dramatic for me, and just unnecessary type of drama. Like, I don't need this. And when I got furloughed, it's like the skies opened for like, oh, so now you're furloughed, now you're kind of jobless, the sky is the limit, what are you going to do? And I was pondering going back to school to finish a master's in psychology, because, as you know, or I'm not sure if you know, Tanya, but a few members of the audience know that I'm a stepmother. And all of my stepchildren are basically adults. The youngest one is going to be 17 in December. The oldest is 23. You know, one of them is married. They're all in college doing their thing. So 2 years ago, I found myself trying to just connect deeper, understand them, understand what they're going through, and just wanting to, dive deeper into that psychology. I felt that call, but I didn't want to go back to school and spend all that money, get more loans, and all of that. So I pray a lot. It's like I'm very prayer led on every single thing I do. So I found myself praying, like, what's next? Like, what am I supposed to do now that I'm furloughed? I've had a job since I was 13, whether part time or on the summer or whatever. So for me not to do anything, it's kind of far fetched. There's no way I would just not do anything. And so I found myself doing some research about psychology, and that's when I discovered ICF and the institutions that are ICF certified or accredited that provide an ICF certification, because ICF uses positive psychology as the foundation of all of the coaching. And so it became something that was a little bit more cost effective, definitely faster than going back to school to get a degree. And so it kind of checked all of those boxes of immediacy and not so much money spent. And I can actually afford this. And I check my positive psychology box, and I get to help people, and I get to, help my kids in the meantime. So it checked all the boxes, and I just dove right in. I was very committed from day one. So there's just no way I wouldn't finish it.
I love that. And so tell us a little bit more about social media. Like you did this, but then tell us a bit about, I want to kind of like walk through my
Oh,
storytelling.
you broke up
Yeah,
there.
so
Oh, sorry. Can you go back? You broke up. So you wanted to go back
to
to what?
social media, like in 2010, like what was your
Yeah.
when you what was it like posting your first picture on Instagram? What was it like just like
Oh my gosh.
getting into social media as a way to create content and as a business also? Tell us about that.
So my social media journey was, I guess you can say I was an early adopter too, because I joined Facebook when you needed a .edu account to join it. Do you remember that? Back in the day when only people that were in college could join Facebook. And then Instagram came out in 2010. And my first picture was blurry, super blurry, because cameras were so sucky back then. I had like a flip phone, like a Motorola or something like that. And it hasn't always been a business page. It's been a personal page. It's been a immature page. It's been a random page, right? Like, this is me and this is the randomness that's my life. And then I started getting more serious as I began, opening an Etsy shop and trading in antique and vintage jewelry and doing business with local jewelers and designing wedding sets for locals, and, just getting more into that kind of culture that only speaks about diamonds and sapphires and, 1800 Georgian pieces. And so all of that personal um, content, I just deleted all of it. And all of a sudden, my Instagram was all about jewelry. And I've kind of rebranded it and restarted it, the same account, like 4 times. So then I became a real estate agent, and it was all about real estate and moving to the States or moving somewhere else, and the journey of, figuring out how to uproot your family to go to a new place. What do you need to know? What are things to avoid? What are the questions to ask a realtor, and all these things. And then as I joined corporate, which was also in real estate, I worked in a corporate real estate office where you're not your own boss, even though you're a realtor. You're in a culture of, normal employee with benefits and bonuses and whatnot. I kind of went back to that personal Instagram, jewelry here and there. I still have my Etsy shop and whatnot. And then I became a life coach. And I felt for the first time in a decade that even though previously I had brand ambassadorships, which I would post on social media about, for example, I was a brand ambassador for this brand called, LOL, sexy modest. And they're from Utah. And the thing about selling dresses for women is that even though I would post about it on social media, the sales really came from me wearing the dresses to go to church or to go to activities, because women want to see in person what a dress looks like. They want to touch it, they want to feel it, right? They want me to spin around and like see the dress 360 degrees. And so I became a brand ambassador for this brand from Utah and sold a lot of dresses in that time, but it was all really done in person. So my content around that was very limited because I knew that the hard work had to be in person. And so when I became a life coach, I felt for the first time that I finally had a reason for real to create content, something that could really make a difference in someone's day, whether it's a reminder, whether it's, something that hopefully resonates at a soul level. You go to my website and the words are right there, like coaching for the soul. I could coach you to launch a business, and I do, and I could coach you about creating content, and I also do. But at the end of the day, I wanted to really make a difference in people's lives, like with themselves. Can you be alone by yourself and still be fulfilled and happy and feel successful? And for highly sensitive people, this is a tall order because we struggle with so much past trauma. You may have never been abandoned and you still suffer with symptoms of abandonment because people tend to turn around when you get dramatic or when you get sensitive. And so it's like you may have never really been quote unquote abandoned, like somebody just up and left you, but we still go through this, almost not daily, but constantly in our relationships and friendships. And so I really wanted to just have content that was for real about mindfulness and about hope and all of that. So it transformed my social media creation, and it just gave me that oomph that I needed to expand, right, to other platforms. So now I'm in Twitter, which is new this year. Now I'm more focused on Facebook, which I ignored for many years, and Fireside and a YouTube channel. I never thought I would do that, and honestly, without Fireside, I wouldn't have done it.
Your YouTube channel is really good, by the way. I was looking at it last night.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, like I'm gonna be honest, everyone. I love researching people, and I love organizing the way things should look like on a website. I'm a little bit like, so when I write the blog about it, I know where to get the different types of content and really, share the story about it. And I understand what you're saying as far as becoming in love with what you do. I think that's such an important part. But also when you create your content, when you have heart and you believe in the content, it exudes out of it. Like I myself, like I never really got into the, like, I've had brands reach out to me, and I don't, it's not like I'm stuck up or anything. I just feel like I'm so busy with my own stuff that I don't think about. I don't want to be focused on other people's stuff. But when you start doing you love and you resonate with it and you believe in it, the content comes out so beautiful. And now, especially with all this technology and all these abilities that's like to at our fingertips, the sky's the limit. And it's up to us how we write our story or how we publish, because whatever you publish online doesn't go away. We all know that.
Absolutely. And the perfect example of that brand context that you just gave us is Brain FM. And so Brain FM, my partnership with them was very personal because I found the app all on my own. I used it for like 3 months. I was in love with it. And all of a sudden I get this opportunity to become a brand ambassador or, an affiliate, and I got their permission to use their music everywhere. I meet with them every 2 weeks. So it was all of a sudden something that was very personal, that then I got an extra step, like a bonus to share with everyone. And so if you follow my content, you'll sometimes see that instead of a song from Instagram, the song on my reel is from Brain FM because I have their permission to use it, right? So I'll use that as kind of quote unquote original, content music on my reels. And every single meditation that we use is with Brain FM. Why? Because it's already music that's designed for your brain. So why would I just spend endless amount of time looking for music that would go with a meditation when I can just go to the app and send you a link for a free trial, right? And it's been wonderful, and I use it daily for so many things: meditation, focusing, just light reading. The sleep setting is amazing. I use it with Elijah. So it's kind of been, this blessing or this tool, right? That now I just recommend everyone. Of course, if you're listening, please read the fine print. But it's a great app that every time I connect with someone that uses it, everybody sings high praises for it. So I'm just very honored to be a part of that quote unquote team, even though I don't necessarily work for the team or with the team. I'm one of their ambassadors, and it's really such an honor.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about being an ambassador a little bit. So tell us about the Wisdom app. I know you are one of the early beta tester. You're the ambassador for them also. Tell us a bit about that.
So Wisdom was an answered prayer, actually. So I launched my business in August. I actually launched my business the day after graduation. That's how serious I was. I got the LLC and the website and everything, and launched it the very next day. And so that was August of 2021. And in October, I found myself kind of like, well, now I'm a life coach. Should I start a podcast? Right? I want to reach people. I want to help people. And with the idea of starting a podcast, it's like, well, what is my podcast going to be about? Now, a year later, I know I can talk about a lot of things. But back then I was like, what? Like, who am I? Right? All of that imposter syndrome again. Who am I to give anyone advice? That's actually not allowed in ICF standards. We don't give advice. We just coach people through things. We help them figure it out. All these blocks and obstacles. And so I found myself praying like, okay, like, you've given me this message. You've guided me this long. So what am I supposed to do about this podcast? And literally 2 days later, I received an email from Wisdom, probably because of my social media reach. Like, I know they, getting the top mentor badge right out of the gate was kind of a post thing because they vet you. So first I got invited to be a beta tester just like that, probably because of my following. And I admit that. And of course, that's one of the perks of being a constant content creator, right? So they see that and they reach out because they know that you can reach people. So that was great. But once I submitted my resume, my certification, my degree, my real estate license, they were like, oh, so you're going to be a beta tester, but you're going to be a top mentor because you clearly have a lot of things that you can talk about. And it was such a vote of confidence and really an answered prayer because I was so on the fence about creating a podcast that I was like, oh, well, here's my answer. Now I can just talk live with people and have the recording so that I can do whatever I want with it. Like, if that's not an answered prayer, I don't know what is, right? And so I dove right in, and it was super awkward in the beginning. There's been lots of advancements and updates to the app. But in the beginning, it was kind of weird. We didn't know who was listening. It was always a one-on-one. And it was always the same people because the group of beta testers was very small and I lost my voice. That's how excited we all were talking to each other almost 24/7. And it was wonderful. And then as soon as the app launched, which was October 7th, so I joined them about 2 weeks before October 7th. So I'm probably mid-September. When the app launches on October 7th, it was so wonderful just to be there to welcome everyone and to introduce ourselves to them, or I should say, introduce myself. And that's actually when I started putting more structure into the content I wanted to bring to the people of Wisdom. So I've interviewed, best-selling authors. I started a book club. And it's just been a constant growing and healing together. It's the sense of community over there. It's the same as here, but here you get the sense of community with the people that you get to speak to every day, right? So, like, Dana has her community of writers that she speaks to on a daily basis. Ananda has her soul space. Noble Ron is so loved by all of us. So there's a sense of community here. Over there on Wisdom, there's specific community guidelines that we all have to abide by. And so that has helped us create a very specific culture. And, the idea is to mentor each other. So if I'm a top mentor and you hop on my stage and you're not a mentor, it's not that you have nothing to teach me, but the idea is that you're coming up on my stage because I have some sort of information or knowledge that will benefit you. Inevitably, however, we all end up mentoring each other, and it's been amazing.
So that's fantastic. Actually, I'm sharing everything you're saying. I'm sharing it in the bubble. So if anybody wants to know more, click the link or just have a conversation. There's a speech bubble. So I'm going to give out the mic, but we might go over a few minutes late because we started late. But I want to now. The next thing I want to talk about is your book club, and then after that, we're gonna put the mic out for everyone. But I want to know more about your book club because I think it's I was never in part of a book club because I've just always been in a hustle and bustle. But my first husband's family started this company called Great American Book Fair, Scholastic Publishing, bought them. So they were the one that give out books. So I guess I was around that and I never really think much about it. But now looking back, I find it like, they say it's just like book clubs are just such an like yesterday's thing, right? But I feel like it's so important because it's a connection. People connect through a movie, video, looking at art. I mean, I'm an NFT promoter. I don't make money off of it, but I just love talking to people with NFT about non-fungible tokens. So there's a club that we are all part of. So, but then now and then I think more, I thought about it. I think like, gosh, everyone I've talked to about book club, it really resonate with me in the sense that if you read something together and you share and then you bring the author on and you're able to get a little bit more insight. Tell us about your journey into creating that and what is your wisdom like when you do a book club, like when you feature an author.
Yeah, so it's been such a journey, really. And there's so many reasons why I created it. Like, number one, I always wanted to join a book club, but people don't meet in their houses anymore to read a book. And if they do, I don't know. I'm brand new to Florida for the past 5 years, and nobody I know hosts a book club. So I was still like with that box unchecked in my life, right? That, that bucket list that I have. Oh, yeah, I want to join a book club before I die someday. And so that was one reason. The other reason was the enigma of what to come to this app to discuss. Like, that can create so much pressure. And I didn't always want to have like this deep wisdom of, performance of this is my life and this is what I do for people. Like, that's also a lot of work considering my load work of everything else that I do. So that was another reason. And another reason is I'm bilingual, and reading out loud has always helped me with my language development. So that was the other reason. And then the other reason was, of course, when I started it, nobody was reading on the app, right? Nobody was doing it. So I went ahead and I launched the Wisdom Book Club. And it's been amazing to be able to connect to authors that I find on a podcast and I reach out to them. And it's like, I would love to share this with my community. Would you care to join us? Because then I get them to download the app, right? Like, wink, wink. See what I did there? So they download the app and they come and share with us. We're on book 7 this year, and I honestly don't think the author will join us, but out of 7 books, we've had 3 authors so far, and we're about to meet with the next one and then the next one after that. And it's so powerful to bring this insight and to have people connect with the person behind the story and with the motive behind writing what they wrote. And our favorite, everyone would probably agree with me and say that our favorite so far has been I Am, The Power of Discovering Who You Really Are by Howard Falco, because Howard Falco has been a member of the community from the start. He's a top mentor on the app. He shows up, a few times a week. And so I said, I want to read your book. Would you care to join us? And he surprised us all by joining us almost every episode to give us like a preamble, like, here, let me preface this chapter. This is what's going on. This is where we are on the journey. And it was so priceless, right? Because here's somebody who is a public speaker and a coach and he does his own thing. And when he comes to the app, it's not like some of us, we show up daily when he shows up, it's rare. So for him to show up daily on my book club and to listen to me read, what? That was such a gift to me. And all the compliments he gave me about my reading, it was so beautiful. And so so what it looks like, it's also been a journey, because in the beginning, I read one day, and then the next day we would host a Q&A about the chapter. And that was wonderful. It worked, it worked while it worked, but then I really could not show up every day. So I started just reading and then having people come at the end. But then sometimes you lose your audience when you make them wait until the very end to ask a question or to connect. They just leave, because it's so easy to just swipe left and right and go to a different talk and tune out, right? So I'm thinking about all of these logistics. And so then I decided to host 3 chapters a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And the microphone is open, and you can come up and interrupt me, and we'll just keep reading when you leave the queue or when you leave the guest spot. So that's what's worked the most, or the best, I would say. And so it looks like me, coming up to say hello. And for example, Noble Ron is there most of the time. He'll come up and say hello. He will kind of summarize the previous chapter. And then I get on with the reading. And then people come up to ask their questions. And it's wonderful like that. So right now we're reading You Are Enough by Panache Desai. And after that, we're going to read Christy Michelson's A Christmas to Remember, which I'm very excited about, because even though it's a romance novel, she takes her own life experience. So that book is about her dad when he got cancer and he passed away. And so it's very personal and very just real. And she's going to join us for it. And it's very short, so it's just perfect for the holiday season. And then I also already have like 5 books for next year. So we have read so far Highly Sensitive Empath by Melissa Carroll, What Happened to You by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey, Happy Not Perfect by Poppy Jamie, award-winning author and app creator of the mental health app Happy Not Perfect. She joined us for an interview. Fierce to Fierce by Rita Fernandez Schmidt. She also joined us for an interview. Reinventing the Body, Resurrecting the Soul, How to Create a New You by Deepak Chopra. I Am, The Power of Discovering Who You Really Are by Howard Falco. And now we are on You Are Enough by Panache Desai. So it's been such a beautiful journey, especially because I read for myself. Like, I have like 3 books that I'm currently reading little by little. But if it weren't for the book club, I wouldn't have read any of those probably. So it's such a gift to be able to share that with a community that also connects, and it just gives it a deeper level of connection and understanding, because you're comparing notes and comparing experiences. So it's such a blessing, like all around, honestly.
Have you ever done anything with I'm such a marketer. So like I've helped people with their books as far as do the crowdfunding, and so they raise money for their books and stuff. But they in Miami, there used to be a bookstore, because that's another thing. Bookstores are all gone. But I always thought, like, why couldn't Arthur pre-sell their books to a virtual audience, and they buy the books and everyone has the book, and then they're able to meet with the author, and the author can set up a whole, agenda or a calendar of when they're going to read and this. And I, for some reason, I just, I'm like, I just had this vision of you doing that for some reason.
Yeah, well,
And
now I'm getting authors reaching out to me like, hey, I want you to read the book. And I'm like, yeah, I'll totally do it. My community would love that. So I have this book that we're reading next year, which is called 29 and F'd. I'm not going to say the word, but 26 and F'd. And it's about this author who got diagnosed with cancer at the age of 26. And by now she's a 3-time cancer survivor. And she sent me the book. She dedicated it to all of us in the book club, and it's just so beautiful to be the one in the middle. I feel like it's such a blessing to be the middleman of this, quasi transaction of me reading and all of you listening and, partaking of it. And of course, one of the goals is for people to order the book and read along with me, right? I remember when I read What Happened to You by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. That book was interesting because the whole book is a dialogue between Bruce and Oprah. And so I remember telling everyone in the audience, if anybody has the book and you want to come up and alternate with me, and today I'll be Oprah, and next time you can be Bruce or you can be Oprah. And nobody really did, aside from my support group, which we read it privately. I host a support group of narcissistic abuse survivors, and we read that privately, right? Because there's a lot of coaching involved in that support group. And so we took turns there, but on the app, nobody really joined me. But the floor is open, right? If you're a good reader, I don't want to butcher the book because it's not my book, right? If you're a good reader and you want to order the book and join me on a reading, everyone is welcome to do so. It gives me a break, obviously, and it just creates a more, a deeper sense of community. So it's just been so nice to be the one in the middle and to bring that blessing to everyone. When an author joins me, it's not about me. It's about, showcasing the author and having the audience connect with the author. So it's been beautiful.
Yeah, I wish Emily was here so she can chat with you, because she's just she's published too. And so, but it's 10:57, and so I wanted to, like, anyone out there, if you'd like to grab the mic, go ahead. We started a little slow, so, but it's so good. And Graciela, I really would love to see you pre-sell the books. Have people sell, like, I don't know, does Wisdom have that a feature? Can people buy tickets, or is it something that's not set up yet?
You mean tickets for a talk?
Yeah, for reading, like, if you were to have an author, I can never understand, like, usually when they do, like, for one of my clients, I did a book, right? And people would come and he'd read, and they're there to have him sign it. But what if you were able to set something up where people got the book shipped to them, signed by the author, and then the author comes up and talks about it, and they log on, they're able to be part of it. They got a book, they got it signed by him.
Yeah, no, the sky is the limit, right? So that would be amazing. Now, you can do ticketed events on Fireside. On Wisdom, everything is live and free, but you monetize your content. Sorry, my toddler is alive and well. You monetize your content the time that you're there, being a speaker, host, or guest, and people listening. You can monetize that. So it's everybody kind of wins, right? Because the authors get the exposure and the people involved get the mentor coins, which is Web3 monetization, so on and so forth. But yeah, I had never really thought about. I'll talk to Christy about it because she's the next one, and she would probably love to autograph some books for everyone. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, if you need me to, like, come in and help you to explain it a little bit further to her, because that's how it was done. I mean, I've even gone further enough to help new author crowdfund, and add that part of it to part of their whole. I guess they call it roadmap now, but that's part of their planning for their book launch. While they're writing the book, they can, do crowdfunding, go have dinner with the author. If you donate this much, if you donate that much, and then pretty much build up the momentum. You have your calendar all set up, and then you run these campaign. Have people go ahead and pre-order, and people love pre-ordering, having something beforehand, especially if you're already, like, having it all over social. And then from there, they with this ticket they get a book signed, but they need to do it all. It has to be done ahead of time. They can't expect to get a book signed the day of, because we're all from
Right,
all over the
exactly.
world, right? So
Right.
you
No,
just have
we're
to do.
definitely going to do it when I launch my book. We're going
Oh,
to talk
good,
about that.
yay! You got anytime, just call me. I'd be love to sit and talk to you about it, because I think it's really important for I love seeing people have visions, and I love people acting on their vision, because just listening to you talk, and I asked you these questions because I actually sit there and, like, really thought about, what do I want to know more about, Graciela? I mean, I already know a lot about you already, but I wanted to know more. And so so I wanted to be able to, like, have you tell me a little bit about your childhood, about where you were and how you got here and how you became this. And then you started a Twitter community also. I mean, it's no one's grabbed the mic, so can we talk a little bit about that and do closing on after that? Because I think it's really important that we need to let people know about empath. I think it's
Yeah,
a really important
absolutely.
conversation.
Yes. So I'm actually so blessed to realize that I wanted to host that on Twitter, because hang on, let me open this door. My child is fighting over there because there's not enough pool water in his little pool, so he can just get over that on his own, because there is enough water. So it was
Enjoy
so
him. I'm telling you, enjoy these moments too, by the way. I'm telling you, it just
I know.
Mm.
So it was so beautiful to realize how many highly sensitive people are here. And I know that they're also on Instagram, but Instagram is just so different and a whole different culture. And as you know, you can't really start a community there. So when I joined in Twitter, that was one of the things in my mind, like the whole time from January to August. I was like, I want to join, I want to start a community, but I have no clue what to start it. And the thing about starting a community with the context of hope, which is, the foundation of my coaching, is that I find myself having to explain it a lot. Like, how is hope a mindset? And I didn't want to invite people to join a community where they needed like some context, right? So even though I would have totally made the Hope Enthusiast Club an actual organization or an actual group, it needed some context. It always does. And so I took my time pondering and thinking about it and connecting with hundreds of people. And all of a sudden, it became so clear one weekend after, a little bit of research. I'm like, there's no empath community here. There's no highly sensitive anything. In fact, I need to advocate about this. I need to speak more about this. Men need to know that they can also be highly sensitive, and it has nothing to do with being, emotional. And so I went ahead and I launched it, and it's been well received. And it's so beautiful to just get to connect with people whom I wouldn't know that they're highly sensitive empaths until they join me. And I'm like, oh, look at us. Yay, community. Nice to meet you. You're an empath. So am I. That's awesome. Superpower. Yay. And so it's obviously brand new. I launched it like, I don't know, mid August or September, but hopefully it'll be there forever, and everyone is welcome to share and to ask questions, right? As a coach, that's what I want. I want people to ask me questions and to figure things out. So there it is. Hashtag empaths unite, because we all need to unite to support each other.
And you have a space on Friday, right? For your community?
Yes. So I host a space every Friday. I've been doing this since about May, back when the spaces were not recorded. So I lost a lot of spaces. I hosted a few of them by myself, but as of the past, I would say 4 months, my noble co host is Noble Ron. And I'm so grateful that he stepped up to the plate to kind of protect the space from any trolls. And he's also a psychology major, so it's wonderful to always have his insight and to share that space. So yes, every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we don't need to talk about NFTs, but as you know, I also have an NFT account with all of my NFT endeavors. And through the NFT account, I host a mental health space every Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time.
That one I did not know that you were into NFT also. It makes sense.
Yes, so I was kind of what's the word? Pulled in or drafted or invited to join the Metamistic Superheroes Collective, which is an NFT project with utility and, with a focus on education and neurodivergence and inclusivity. And the Metamistic Superheroes, there's 12 characters. The goal is to have them in the classrooms. The goal is to have a show on TV, all these things. And they wanted a real, certified professional to be the one to lead their mental health space, because mental health matters to them. And so she found me on a space and said, I want you to be our metamistic healer. And so she gave me this character, and all of a sudden I'm the metamistic healer. And so every Wednesday, the healer, the metamistic healer, is the one hosting the space. And it's so beautiful to kind of have that alter ego. I have wings and everything.
I love that. I love that. I have to check it out then. I didn't even realize that. So again, it's 11:06. It went by so quickly. I had so much more to ask you, but we'll have to like do part two with us. I really looking forward to watch you grow further, Graciela. And I know you help so many people in our community, in several other communities. I mean, like I think niche communities is the key for everyone. You can have one community and doing this, one community does that. So always get involved in your community and just being part of the space host community. That's how Graciela and I met, and didn't even realize we have so many synergy. And then she popped in some couple of my spaces and got to know her and she spoke. So I think that's the key. Oh, there's Amy. She's requesting. I haven't heard her voice in so long. Oh my gosh, Amy. She's coming up to say hi. I'm so excited because hi, Amy.
Tonya, my sister, how are you? So good to hear your voice again. Sorry, I'm still.
I heard your voice every single day for one summer, so I'm just kind of strange. I don't hear your voice anymore. But welcome.
Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for the invitation, Graciela. I'm so glad that I caught this. This has been such an inspiring journey that you've been on. And when you talked about, your difficulties in growing up in a household that didn't speak English, but living in a world where that's the language that's spoken everywhere, right? You wanted to join that universe of another language. I had a similar experience myself. I grew up with an Ethiopian mother and a Somali father who never spoke English in the house. It wasn't allowed, even though we're growing up in London. So I made it my mission to master the English language. So I went and studied it at university and I got my master's in English so that I could, say I am a citizen with pride, because often what you'll find is it's a wonderful city, London. It's my home. It's where I'm always probably going to be, right? But because it's such a diverse culture, so many diverse cultures and languages being spoken in this tiny little space. It's not a big city, but it's expanded so much over the decades, and that's communities coming from all over Europe and Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Like, just everyone is here, and I remember code switching. I remember getting home and like, okay, no more English, but leaving the house and talking to. It's like I had two identities. You know what I mean? Like, I had to code switch. So like I can speak English with an English accent, like I'm doing it to you, like I'm speaking to you now. And then I have like my broken English accent for when I'm speaking to my mother. And then I have like the actual language that my mother speaks. And what people don't realize is this this creates personalities and different I don't know how to explain, but maybe you understand what I mean. Code switching, it can have a bit of a negative effect on developing, one stable, secure, fully rounded whole identity. So the fact that you've come this far, you did that, and then you're bilingual, trilingual, quadrilingual. I don't know how many languages you speak, but you're obviously, multilingual, right? So, and you went on to achieve all these incredible things. I just wanted to come up and to thank Tonya for, providing this space, creating this platform for you to share, your wonderful story, because it's definitely the kind of thing I need to hear on a Monday morning or Monday afternoon in my case. Like, I feel like I'm like, how people go to church to set them up for the week? Like, this Empower Yourself Monday is like my setup for the week. I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, Amy, you're so kind. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, and I receive it with so much love. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. Code switching is something I do daily because my stepchildren do not speak Spanish. My husband speaks very limited Spanish, and I'm teaching my toddler to be bilingual. So I find myself code switching constantly, and it actually can be very mentally taxing to do this, right, on a daily basis. And so you're right. I do speak other languages. I love American Sign Language. I actually kind of left Puerto Rico one class shy of getting certified as an interpreter. And then here I haven't really pursued it. And then I speak empath. So I feel like that's a whole different language on itself, to be able to interpret people's body language and people's energy, excuse me. So that's a whole nother language that I can probably do a ton of content about. So thank you for giving me that idea. And so it's so beautiful to develop the brain in that way. Language is huge.